The moment she took off her headband, revealing that stunning face, everyone finally realized she was actually a woman. Turns out when she left the palace, she was in a hurry. She failed to make way for the Empress's maid and bumped into her. The maid held a grudge ever since. In sitting palace right in front of the Empress and all the consorts, she lied, claiming the woman snuck into her room at night and assaulted her. She even pulled down her collar in public, showing red marks on her shoulder as fake proof. Just then, her cousin suddenly stepped forward too. She acted like she was righteously turning on family. She lied, saying she had seen her in the Imperial garden touching her own maid inappropriately. Your Highness, since Lady Shen says she saw it with her own eyes, I want to ask her one question. After that, you may punish me however you wish. Cousin, you said you saw me bullying Choir in the Imperial garden. What day was it? What time? And exactly where? It was the afternoon before yesterday, around the third quarter of the way hour in the plum grove behind the rockery. I was standing far away. I saw you pin Queer against the rockery. She kept struggling and you even slapped her. Last Wednesday, I caught a cold and specifically asked the commander for leave. I spent the whole day lying at the Shen residence outside the palace. So I wonder who it was that you saw, cousin. Do I, Shen Yan, know how to split myself in two? Lying in bed drinking medicine while fighting a maid in the Imperial garden? Ha, Shen Yan, you're twisting the truth. After being defiled by a hypocrite like you, I'd rather die. Huh? Look at that. She even slammed into a pillar. She must have really been wronged. Exactly. Besides, what girl would ever use something like this to frame a man? Your Highness, please punish this creep at once. Otherwise, we consorts won't feel safe in the palace. Just then, a commotion came from outside the hall. Move aside, I have evidence for Her Highness! A man in a guard uniform burst in. It was Li Wan, who was on duty at the same time as me, Your Highness. This is something Shen Yan once showed off to me. He said a palace maid had a crush on him and secretly gave him her intimate clothing. A maid serving Lady Shen sent word to me. She was afraid Shen Yan would try to dodge the blame, so she asked me to search his room for evidence. Seeing that it was him, I instantly realized we had both been competing lately for the position of Chief Imperial Guard. If I fell, he could naturally rise to the post. Too bad for him, that plan was never going to work. That is my clothing. That was what I wore the first time he forced himself on me. I never thought he would still keep it. Sob. I'm too ashamed to face anyone. He even has her intimate clothing. What else is there to deny? Shen Yan, did you really think just because your father is the Prime Minister, you could cover up anything? The women in this palace belong to His Majesty. You're outrageously bold. A man like this deserves to be executed. The senior maid beside the Empress immediately waved, signaling the eunuchs nearby to take me away. Hold on, I still have something to say. Even a death row prisoner gets one last chance to state their grievance. The Shen family has been loyal for generations. I cannot let my ancestors be disgraced. Please allow me to ask a few questions, Your Highness. Fine. For your father's sake, I'll give you one last chance. Queer, you said I snuck into your room every night. When exactly did it start? About half a month ago, every night after midnight. Then how did I get in each time? Through the window or the door? The first time I entered, did I damage anything in the room? I was too scared. I don't remember. Lord Shen, the first time you came in, I think it was through the window. I remember the room you lived in. Outside the window was covered in thorny roses. So you're saying I went there every night just to get covered in thorns, all to see you? Then tell me, what features do I have? Which hand has calluses? My left or right? Do I have a scar on my waist? No! That night, I was far too terrified. There are many things I just can't remember. You keep saying I assaulted you every night, yet you can't even explain the basic time or how I entered. Did you really forget? Or did I never do it at all? You're deliberately slandering me. With something that terrifying, who could remember every detail? In my opinion, Shen Yan is clearly pressuring Queer. Isn't he just stalling, waiting for his elders to come save him? Your Highness, since Queer says I assaulted her multiple times, we only need a matron to examine her injuries on the spot to know the truth. Besides that, please check the Imperial Guard's duty records from the past half month. I believe Your Highness judges cases with wisdom, and will clear my name. A moment later, two elderly matrons took Queer into the side hall. Reporting to Your Highness, Queer is no longer untouched and she does have injuries. She was indeed violently harmed. Please stand up for me, Your Highness. My innocence was destroyed by Shen Yan. The marks the matrons found were left by him after assaulting her every night. I beg Your Highness to severely punish Shen Yan, uphold palace rules and make an example of him. Otherwise, if guards can casually humiliate women in the palace, then all of us consorts will have to live in fear. See? I told you. It had to be Shen Yan. How terrifying. He dared act so wildly inside the inner palace. If he could target a maid today, maybe tomorrow he'll lust after a consort or even the Empress herself. Your Highness, you cannot spare him again. Keeping this man alive would only bring disaster. Ah! I'll ask you one more time. Are you sure the person who ruined your innocence was me? It was you. You broke into my room every night and forced me. I swear on my life, if I've said even one false word, may I die without a grave. And you're sure those intimate clothes were something I showed off in front of you? As an Imperial Guard, if even half a word of mine is false, I'm willing to lose this uniform, take 80 military strokes, and be banned from the capital forever. Cousin, you also insist that I forced queer? I swear on all 149 members of the Shen family, if I've spoken even half a lie, may our entire clan die without heirs. Hearing that, I finally laughed out loud. Under everyone's confused gaze, I slowly removed my hair crown. Tears fell from the corners of my eyes. Since fate brought us together, why not for someone? The moment Shen Yan removed the hair crown, a waterfall of silky black hair spilled down her back. Gasps echoed through the palace hall. The Imperial Guards, the consorts, and even the Empress froze in disbelief. The handsome young commander they had known for years was actually a woman. Impossible. Shen Yan is a woman? The maid queer's face instantly turned pale, while Lady Shen staggered backward in panic. The Empress slowly stood from her throne. Shen Yan, explain yourself. Shen Yan knelt calmly. Your Highness, my father had no sons. To protect the Shen family from political enemies, I disguised myself as a man and entered the Imperial Guard years ago. Every medical examination was personally approved by His Majesty's secret decree. If your Highness does not believe me, you may summon His Majesty. The entire hall fell silent. If Shen Yan was truly a woman, then every accusation made against her collapsed instantly. The Empress immediately ordered, "Bring His Majesty." Moments later, the Emperor entered the palace hall. Seeing Shen Yan kneeling with her hair down, he sighed softly. So, your secret has finally been exposed. Everyone immediately knelt. Greetings, Your Majesty. The Emperor looked around coldly. Everything Shen Yan said is true. Years ago, I personally approved her disguise because the Shen family had served the Empire loyally for generations. Anyone who questions this decree is questioning me. The hall instantly became deathly quiet. The Empress bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, if Shen Yan is truly a woman, then today's accusations... The Emperor narrowed his eyes. Continue the investigation. The duty records of the Imperial Guards were quickly brought into the hall. The chief eunuch carefully opened the register. Reporting to Your Majesty, for the past 15 nights, Shen Yan was on night patrol outside the East Palace until dawn every single night. She never once entered the inner palace. The evidence completely destroyed Quer's testimony. Sweat poured down Quer's face. Shen Yan calmly looked at her. You claimed I visited your room every night. Yet according to the duty records, I was guarding the palace gates all night. Tell everyone, how did I split myself into two people? Quer could not answer. The Emperor slammed the table. Speak. Terrified, Quer collapsed to the floor. I... Before she could finish, Li Chuan suddenly shouted, Your Majesty! She's lying! Shen Yan threatened her. Shen Yan smiled faintly. Then explain something for me. The clothing you claimed I proudly showed you, why are your fingerprints all over the package? Everyone looked toward Li Chuan. His expression changed instantly. The palace guards immediately opened the cloth bundle again. Inside the undergarment was a hidden embroidered pouch. The chief eunuch carefully removed it. Inside was a jade pendant engraved with a single character, Li. Li Chuan's face lost all color. Shen Yan spoke calmly. I noticed this pendant was missing several days ago. I wondered who had stolen it. Now I know. Li Chuan suddenly dropped to his knees. Your Majesty, mercy! The Emperor's face darkened. So it really was you. Under the pressure of the palace guards, Li Chuan finally confessed everything. Because Shen Yan had repeatedly outperformed him and was about to become the next chief Imperial Guard, he secretly bribed Quer with a large amount of silver. Lady Shen, who had always envied her cousin's achievements, agreed to testify falsely in exchange for Li Chuan's promise to help her family gain promotion. Together they staged the entire accusation. Even the so-called injuries on Quer's body had been deliberately created beforehand. After hearing the full confession, the entire palace erupted in anger. The Empress slapped the table. How dare you frame an innocent person and attempt to destroy the reputation of a loyal minister's family? The Emperor's voice was icy. Li Chuan falsely accused a royal guard, forged evidence, deceived the palace, and attempted to shake the court. Execute him immediately. Quer accepted bribes, fabricated testimony, and falsely accused an innocent person. Sentence her to death. Lady Shen knowingly committed perjury before the throne, strip her family of all official titles, confiscate their property, and exile the entire household to the northern frontier. The three collapsed, crying and begging for mercy, but no one dared to plead for them. After they were dragged away, the emperor personally walked down from the throne and helped Shen Yan to her feet. "You have suffered today." Shen Yan lowered her head respectfully. "Protecting the empire is my duty. I only ask that my father's loyalty never be doubted." The emperor nodded. "From today onward, the Shen family is cleared of all suspicion." He then turned toward the gathered ministers and nobles. "Let everyone in the capital know. Shen Yan disguised herself as a man not for personal gain, but for the nation. Her loyalty surpasses that of countless men." The entire hall immediately knelt. "General Shen is innocent. General Shen is innocent." News spread throughout the capital within a single day. The people who had cursed Shen Yan in the morning were now praising her courage and integrity. Her name became legendary across the empire. Several days later, the emperor officially promoted Shen Yan to Grand Commander of the Imperial Guards, granting her authority over all palace security. Before the ceremony ended, the emperor smiled. "Shen Yan, now that your identity is public, have you ever considered marriage?" The ministers immediately became interested. Countless noble families wished to marry such an outstanding woman. Shen Yan simply smiled. "For years I lived as a man to protect the empire. Now that peace has finally returned, I only wish to live as myself for a while." The emperor laughed heartily. "Very well. The empire owes you that much." As Shen Yan walked out of the palace gates beneath the setting sun, she finally removed the heavy official hat forever. For the first time in many years, she no longer needed to hide who she truly was. The wind gently lifted her long hair as she smiled at the bright sky above. From that day forward, no one remembered the false accusations. History only remembered one name: General Shen Yan, the woman who protected the empire and whose loyalty could never be shaken.